Yesterday, we broke some news about the blind sheik. According to State Department sources, this administration is negotiating with Egypt now on the release or the transfer of the blind sheik. This is something that we predicted would happen back on August 3rd. Morsi is saying that is his number one priority as president of Egypt. The Muslim Brotherhood has already met with the president in the White House. Their number one priority was the release of the blind sheik. This is the guy who was responsible for the World Trade Center bombing, the first one. Really bad guy. He is currently in prison, and everyone has said that there's no way this could happen. I will tell you that I just got an email from the head of my news department who said, Glenn, it is important for you to understand we got this information because just like the FBI, DOJ, and the Pentagon, the State Department is being torn apart. There are a collection of longtime servants, like our sources, who feel that they are concerned that we are losing our country, and they are taking enormous risks to let Americans know exactly what's going on. We have a source on the blind sheik that is extraordinarily credible. It is, would you agree, highest level State Department? Mm-hmm. Highest level of the State Department. And it was handed to me as I went on the air last night at 5 o'clock. The story broke on the Blaze. It is not being covered anyplace else. So be it. We don't ever want to be first. I'm not looking forward to we're not a website that breaks news as we've got it first. I've never been an exclusive story guy. If you watch me, whenever there is an interview to be had, even when we can get it first, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just not that guy. News is news. Let's get it right. This is a critically important story. They're releasing the blind sheik. They're negotiating for his release right now with Egypt, and it will not happen until after the election. But mark my words, it will happen. This president, while everybody is talking about Mitt Romney and what he said in some meeting with donors about an accurate stat of 47% of Americans don't pay taxes, that is an accurate stat, comes from the government. While everybody's concerned about that, no one is concerned about what really happened in Libya. We broke that story last night. About the negotiations with the blind sheik, we broke that story last night. About the truth behind the Arab Spring. We broke that story a year and a half ago. They're still not on it. About how many ties this president has to the Muslim Brotherhood. They still don't have it. All of his friends are terrorists or against Israel or for the Muslim Brotherhood. Rashid Khalidi. We still don't have that one. Where is the story on Rashid Khalidi? Where is the videotape that the LA Times has withheld from the American people because they say it will damage the president? Don't we have a right? Don't they have a responsibility to tell us exactly what he said to Rashid Khalidi? At this critical juncture of our country, we have a right to know exactly who he is and what he believes. Listen. This is really the last 2 weeks have been extraordinarily important in the world. And every day that goes by, I want you to know the world is being redesigned. It is the most important week, last week, not only in American economic history, but maybe in global economic history. But nobody is giving you this whole picture. And this is the picture that you need, and you need to share with your friends. The world is being redesigned. This is the time that I spoke about where I said at some point our enemies will say, now, go, 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 go. It is here. This is it. Just let me give you the headlines from around the world so you have some context. Unable to reach a compromise over the weekend, South Africa is in an all-out labor strike with police firing rubber bullets at miners with lethal escalation guaranteed. Back from vacation, once again, the penniless citizens of Spain, Greece, and Portugal have resumed protesting austerity. This will spread. The U.S. embassies attacked, many cases, numerous casualties. Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Morocco, Sudan, Lebanon, India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, and more. There were 4 deaths yesterday. Japan is appropriating China. China contested islands, provoking a firestorm of retaliation, including demands from China of a war with Japan. Japan currently is in real trouble with the Chinese people. They are setting fire to Japanese car dealerships all across China. And the Chinese are marching, talking about death to the Japanese devil. This is happening because China is in collapse. The Japanese ambassador of China has died mysteriously. Netanyahu told Meet the Press this weekend Iran will have a nuke in 6 to 7 months and must be stopped now. Warships from more than 25 countries, including United States, Britain, France, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, are launching a military exercise in the Straits of Hormuz. A third U.S. aircraft carrier is en route to Iran with an ETA of about 10 days. And finally, potential catalyst to light this whole mess of fire, Iran's Revolutionary Guard announcing that their troops are now on the ground in Syria. Add to that the domestic issues that we've been talking about, the highest gas prices ever for this time of year, the cost of energy and food skyrocketing. Tonight, I have the whole show is on the economic instability. When I show you what has happened to the price of food in the last 4 years, when I show you what the Fed and what this Treasury has done to your money, and then you have people worrying on TV about what Mitt Romney said about an accurate stat of 47% of the American population that won't connect with his idea of lower taxes because they don't pay any taxes. Oh my gosh. The QE3 started. The Fed is printing an unlimited supply of money. Our credit rating was downgraded again on Friday. Occupy Wall Street looks like it's petered out, but they're still going. The world is being reorganized and redesigned, and all of the factors to bring about the fundamental transformation of the greatest nation in the world, the greatest nation the world has ever known, is now in place. With 4 more years to work with his fellow engineers of social justice and redistribution, with George Soros working behind the scenes to create an economic disaster globally, they are dangerously close to their goal. There's a story that broke today. The DOJ is working hand in hand with George Soros and Media Matters. 60 pages, due to the Freedom of Information Act, 60 pages of briefing notes helping the DOJ out, back and forth emails. How would we present this? How do we present that? George Soros working with the DOJ to explain Fast and Furious. Breaking news today. Barack Obama must not have another term. I believe there are tough times beyond even my wildest imagination. No matter who is elected, we are going through tough times. As much as people want to say this is it, if Mitt Romney is elected, you're not going to be sitting down. I guarantee you. This is just the beginning. Wow. These are the times that try men's souls. They are quickly coming. But at least Mitt Romney will give us a chance to pull back from the cliff. At least slow us down from the cliff. At least Mitt Romney is not in bed with Muslim radicals. The Radical magazine, Mother Jones, released their undercover audio from Romney at a fundraiser that is supposedly shocking.
There are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe that government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing, to you name it. That it's an entitlement, and the government should give it to them. And they will vote for this president no matter what.
Because they believe they're entitled. That is not the case with 47% of Americans, but a lot. And I have absolute disdain for those Americans who can support themselves but do not. I don't. For those who can't make it, that's what we're there for. That's what we do as people. We help each other. But there are far too many people who can help themselves that don't. Now, the Obama campaign manager, Jim Messina, released a statement about the audio. He said, quote, "It's shocking that a candidate for the president of the United States would go behind closed doors and declare to a group of wealthy donors that half of the American people view themselves as victims, entitled to handouts, are willing to take personal responsibility for their lives. It's hard to serve as president for all Americans when you have disdainfully written off half the nation." Oh, my gosh, my head's going to explode. First of all, it's not shocking. We know it's true. There's a huge portion of this nation that believes the government should take care of them. They are now currently out in the streets. There was one on NBC last night. NBC last night. Somebody on television saying, you know what? There's plenty of wealth. There's plenty of wealth in this country. It's just all in the wrong hands. There are people politicking right now to take it away from somebody else who actually deserved it and give it to somebody else. They believe that they have a right. They have a president who's offering those rights to turn the Constitution inside out and upside down. We have a president who continually tells those same people who are paying nothing that the wealthiest Americans aren't paying their fair share. And talk about disdainfully writing off half the nation.
It's not surprising then that they get bitter and they cling to guns or religion or antipathy towards people who aren't like them, or anti-immigrant sentiment, or anti-trade sentiment.
I mean, we could go on and on. How about the president when he was talking to the Hispanic caucus, where he says, you know what, we've got to, if the Hispanics don't rise up and take their enemies out, well, I'm sorry, Mr. President, there are more independents and Republicans than there are Democrats. And you labeled those guys enemies. Please don't talk to me about that. From a team who has written off the other half, in fact, more than half, over 4 years ago, that rings pretty hollow. But you have to understand, radicals and revolutionaries are working hard to finish the job they started, and they are willing to do anything. They've never been this close. They will say anything to successfully reorganize the New World Order. But here's the good news. They didn't see you coming then. They don't see you coming now. They didn't know that you would wake up in time, that you would apply yourself, that you wanted to learn about your country, to learn about history, that you would take the time and teach it to your children. They didn't know that you would ignore the mainstream media and then find new media or make new media yourself. They had no idea that you would be involved in help spreading the truth to anyone who would listen. They had no idea you'd go door to door. You'd go all night long if you had to. They had no idea, and they still don't. They had no idea. They didn't realize that you would save America because they've never seen it worth saving. They don't understand you. I do. Millions of Americans do. You are not alone. You are not in the back seat. You are in the driver's seat. Make no mistake of that. No matter what the mainstream media says, no matter what this government says to you, no, you are in the driver's seat. They are more afraid of you than you are of them, and they have reason. That's why they're building these gigantic server farms to monitor everything you do, because they are terrified of you. And listen to me now, Washington, you should be. Because come this November, we are coming to reclaim our rightful place as the owners of this country.